Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm YK Swedish Whiskey Girl, and today we are back with another video in my Support Your Local series, and today we're talking about Lindores Abbey. And of course, earlier this year, before everything happened with COVID, I was lucky enough to visit the distillery. It is of course a distillery full of history, as it's located on the site where the oldest written reference to whiskey making in Scotland was found in 1494. And of course this will be an exciting year for them because they started distilling in 2017, I believe in December, but I wouldn't quote me on that. So this year they will have their first liquid that can be officially called Scotch whisky. And of course up until now they have had their new make on sale and also their aquavitae. And the aquavitae really intrigued me from the first time I heard of it, and I've of course also already done a review on it if you're curious about that. But it's an interesting kind of topic because of course in Scandinavia, where I'm from, aquavitae is a very big national drink. You make this, you spice your alcohol with different spices and herbs and botanicals to create this really interesting spirit that might not be what everyone likes, but it's something that is kind of a classic tradition for all the holidays. And seeing someone do that in Scotland I thought was really intriguing. So what they've done is they've taken their new make and they have then infused it with lots of different things. Like I think there's raisins in there, there's lots of different herbs like cloves and cinnamon. And they've created this kind of sweet, so it's naturally sweet due to being infused by raisins and has a lovely spice to it. It's, I would probably say, if you've never tried aquavit, Lindores aquavit is more probably easy to like for the general palate. But to actually be called aquavit in Scandinavia, you have to use caraway or dill. So it's a completely different character, but still very fascinating. And it's a great distillery to visit. They have their little apothecary, so you can make your own aquavitae and you get to choose different distillates that they've taken lots of that thing and then infused into alcohol. So I chose one with, that was raspberry distillate. And I know Cody chose one with rose, so it's all different ones. It's really fascinating. And of course, very exciting to see their spirits soon. They seem to be kind of focusing on using a lot of different cask types and doing a few little different experiments, so I'm super excited. But today we are gonna try their new make. It is at 63.5% ABV, which of course you will see on a fair few new makes that are out there because that is the filling strength. So when you take it off the stills, it is not necessarily 63.5, but before you put it into the casks, you will reduce it down with water and put it in the casks. Because if you fill at a higher strength, sometimes you just lose that alcohol quicker than you would wish. So it's just a more convenient strength to fill at. So let's start by having a look on the nose. I mean, it's undoubtedly new make, but it's a very pleasant new make. A bit of that kind of earth cellar dampness. And the new make characteristics kind of vegetal note that I tend to get. Still quite fruity. I'm just trying to think of what fruits there might be. Almost a hint of kind of tropical notes in there, like maybe a little bit of pineapple. And almost a bit of kind of a bready doughiness. But it's that kind of warehouse damp cellar vibe to it. But let's have a taste. Slangeva. I do think this is a lovely new make. It's of course quite punchy, sitting at 63, but it has that kind of almost like a raisin sweetness because it's quite dense. And even though it's such a high strength, it feels not overpoweringly spicy because of the alcohol, but quite smooth still. I mean, it's definitely a new make you can just drink as it is. A bit of that kind of yeasty doughiness as well, and there is a vegetal note, that kind of new make flavour, but it's almost more it's like it's toned down. I am going to do a comparison between the 3 new makes that I have at home, the Clydeside one, the Lindores Abbey and the Kingsbarns, so that's coming soon. But from memory, I would say the Lindores seems a little bit less spicy and less vegetal, more towards kind of a murky dampness in a way. We are going to add some water. I have my little trusty jug here. It's funny with such high strength alcohol, you can really see the water kind of mixing up with the oily alcohols. It smells like, if you're in a distillery, sometimes you get a jar of barley and you get to smell that. This is what it reminds me of, that kind of dusty grain, dried grain notes. A hint of that vegetalness that also reminds me slightly of rum agricole. And rum agricole is a rum but made from sugarcane juice instead of molasses, so it has like a grassy, slightly more earthy, almost leathery note to it. But there's definitely some like tropical, it's like raisin pineapple. It's going to be so fascinating trying these next to each other just to see the differences. Almost like a biscuity note as well. Almost a bit of that kind of, if you chew on hazelnuts, it feels slightly bitter and slightly dry. It's almost a bit of that, like a little bit nutty, a little bit murky. It just feels like quite a kind of dark and cozy new make in a way. But still, of course, because it's unaged, it has that kind of fresh note to it. Interesting. Of course, I would love to hear what you think of Lindores. Have you tried their new make perhaps? Have you tried their Aquavitae? Or perhaps you've tried, because I know they also sell little samples that are, of course, not able to be called whiskey yet, but they're basically the new make that's been matured for 2 years or even longer. I haven't tried those yet, but they did let us try some of the cask samples when we were at the distillery, which was, I believe, was it STR, red wine, sherry, port and bourbon, maybe? And the bourbon one was my favourite. But it's, yeah, if you want to read more about my visit to the distillery, you should check out the link in the description because I've linked to my blog there. And of course, let me know if you're as excited as I am to see if they're going to release something in the few coming years now that their whiskey's almost of age. And of course, if you like what I'm doing here on YouTube and my other social channels, I would of course be absolutely thrilled if you consider using my affiliate links with either Master Malt, the Whisky Exchange or the Scotch Malt Whisky Society the next time you're shopping with them. I have all the information of course in the description here below, as well as links to my Instagram, my Teespring shop, my Patreon and my website if you're curious about that. I hope you've all had an absolutely wonderful day. Keep letting me know what brands that are local to you and that you are supporting. It's great to see that there's so many different ones that we can explore out there. Slán Skål.